Live from the WCTV studios, this is Eyewitness News at noon. Coverage you can count on.
Wildfires like this one in Hernando County continue to burn across the state. There are currently more than 100 active wildfires burning more than 20,000 acres in Florida, now forcing Governor Rick Scott to react. The governor now declaring a state of emergency following an increase in wildfires.
Forecast predicting hot and dry conditions for the coming months. Wildfires already burning 250% more acreage so far this year compared to last. Governor Scott saying in part, quote, "It is incredibly important that wildfire response is swift and deliberate, and the state of emergency will make it easier for our state, regional, and local agencies to quickly work together to protect our families, visitors, and communities," end quote.
Meanwhile, a man has been charged for his role in starting this fire in St. George on Saturday. Rick Crossan was burning leaves in his backyard when the fire started unintentionally. He is charged with a misdemeanor count of reckless burning of lands.
Tallahassee police searching for 5 suspects in an alleged robbery. The incident happening off campus at FAMU Way off South Adams. Suspects were last seen running toward Cascades Park. Authorities saying one suspect is 5'10" with a light complexion, wearing a dark hoodie, a face cover, and possibly carrying a handgun. 3 other suspects have a dark complexion and were wearing dark clothes. There was no description given for the 5th suspect. If you have any information, you're asked to please call TPD.
An update to a story we first brought you last weekend on a bicyclist who was critically injured in a bicycle crash happening on Oak Ridge Road in Tallahassee. According to 63-year-old Marlene Lamore's family, she has passed away from her injuries. She was riding her bike at the intersection when she collided with a car.
Today, a memorial stands outside an elementary school where a teacher and student were killed yesterday. The gunman killing his estranged wife and an 8-year-old student, then himself. The community in San Bernardino in mourning today. The elementary school remains closed through tomorrow.
John Blackstone reports police want to know what happened between the newlywed couple that led to such violence.
The shots were fired before 10:30 Monday morning. Authorities scrambled to secure the area as they quickly evacuated some 500 students and discovered 2 of them had been shot.
We have 2 victims out here, both with severe trauma. Second victim has a chest wound but is talking.
Police say 53-year-old Cedric Anderson entered his wife's classroom.
It is my understanding that he entered the office and he had simply said that he was there to drop something off with his wife.
According to authorities, his estranged wife, Karen Smith, was his target. He aimed a .357 revolver at the 53-year-old and she was killed. Also shot were 2 students standing behind her.
I saw blood across the room.
What did you do?
I ran fast as I can.
8-year-old Jonathan Martinez was airlifted to hospital where he died. An unidentified 9-year-old boy is hospitalized in stable condition. Police say Anderson then killed himself.
I'm told he does have a criminal history that has to do with weapons charges, domestic violence past, as well as possible drug charges in there as well.
Me and my baby's on our honeymoon.
The 2 were married in late January, but police say they were recently estranged.
We do not know the reason that they were estranged yet. That'll be part of the investigation.
Smith's pastor says she was a compassionate and talented teacher who had a heart for children. School officials say crisis counselors will be available today for families, students, and staff. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Bernardino, California.
There were 15 students in the class at the time of that shooting.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson arriving in Moscow today ahead of a much-anticipated sit-down with Russia's top diplomat. Tillerson trying to convince the Russians to reconsider their support for the Syrian regime. The White House is downplaying an Associated Press report saying the U.S. has concluded Russia had advanced knowledge of the chemical attack last week in Syria. A U.S. official tells CBS News the U.S. intelligence community has not reached a consensus about that. Now, authorities in Wisconsin increasing security around schools, churches, and courthouses as they search for Joseph Jakubowski.
Yeah, the 32-year-old sent a handwritten 161-page manifesto to President Donald Trump last week before robbing a gun shop and torching his car. Federal authorities, along with local police, ATF, and the Secret Service, are all taking part in the national investigation.
We're concerned that, if his end game is to inflict casualties, then he may go someplace where there are going to be a large number of people.
Family members say Jakubowski hates police, his stepfather describing him as dangerous and is urging him to give himself up.
New information in the Amber Alert for missing Tennessee teen Elizabeth Thomas. The Thomas family filing a Rule 27 encouraging anyone with information in the case to come forward and give testimony on the record, which could be used later in a trial. The TBI says Thomas's former teacher, Tad Cummings, kidnapped her. Since Cummings hasn't been found, the judge says he will be appointed a lawyer for a hearing scheduled for May 1st on the family's petition, which includes specific names of teachers and students.
There are students who have been, they've given information to law enforcement, we believe, that is incomplete. And then when asked again, that information expands. And so the bottom line is we want to get all of the information on the table so that we can vet that information.
Now, court documents filed last week by the family claim Cummings groomed the 15-year-old, threatened and stalked her. After the school suspended, then fired the 50-year-old for inappropriate conduct with the student. So far, there has been only one confirmed sighting of the pair, which came from a Walmart surveillance camera on March 15th.
United Airlines is defending its team after a controversial video shows a man being dragged from a flight. The video showing aviation security officers dragging the passenger off an overbooked flight. It was heading from Louisville, Kentucky to Chicago. The airlines say it was trying to make room for 4 employees of a partner airline. The passenger refused to give up his seat, saying he was a doctor who needed to see his patients.
When she came on and said he had to leave, he said, "Look, I'm a doctor. I have patients tomorrow. I need to get back to Louisville. I'm not getting off the flight."
United Airlines CEO Oscar Munoz issued a statement to employees, a letter rather, to employees Monday night, saying staff had, quote, followed established procedures and calling the passenger, quote, disruptive and belligerent. He then added, quote, there are lessons to learn from this experience.
Meanwhile, shares of United Airlines unexpectedly finished the day higher on Wall Street, about 1%, despite dealing with fallout from a video which showed a customer dragged by police from an overbooked flight. You just saw it. Social media users threatened to boycott the airline, which led to share prices to initially drop. But United CEO has apologized, and some investors think the company will bounce back.
Samsung is shaking off its exploding battery controversy. The tech company says pre-orders for its new Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus smartphones are up double digits from last year's S7 model.
Charlene, okay, this is going to blow my mind. A pool that lets you swim and fly at the same time.
Who would have thought you could do both of them at the same time? All right, take a look here. This is video of a swimmer stepping over the edge of a building. Oh my gosh, look at that. All the while remaining safe in the pool's water. So where can you find this glass bottom pool?
Vegas?
Nope.
Oh.
Any other guesses? No, I'm just kidding. It's in Houston's Market Square Tower. That's a high-rise luxury apartment complex in the city, and the pool is at the top of the building, 40 stories above the ground. Tell me that would not freak you out.
It would freak me out a little bit. I really thought that was like a Vegas kind of thing, though. I wouldn't have guessed Houston.
Houston. Very cool.
Well.
I'd like to see it, but I think I'd have to prepare myself to. I feel like that would just kind of zone me out a little bit.